Yeah, welcome back to our interview session on our fair here in the Embedded World. Now we change roles. I have the best looking guy here, Claudia Schiffer of mioty. And Uwe, you asked me a lot of questions about smart cities, and I'm really interested what is WIKA doing in this issue.
Yeah, good question. I was asking holes into you guys. Now you want to have a payback and a report, and you should have it, Hermann. So I have brought a use case with me, which is not so far away from a smart city. It's a huge logistical site. We have several points, and some of those are quite interesting, and some of those are even funny, even though they are not funny. So I have brought for you a digital journey which we did with our customers. It's in a harbor site, and so the question in the harbor is, for digital transformation, why are you even taking the effort? You know, I mean, they are organized since decades. They know how to do logistics. So what can we add? And if you look, and that's almost common for everybody, what they are after is operating costs. You know, especially in the harbor and especially in logistic, time is money, yes. And of course, what they also don't want to have is unplanned shutdowns. They usually happen then when you absolutely cannot meet them. Because also, if you have an unplanned event, the shipping company will charge you for it. And the fees, the penalties are not funny. Last but not least, machine costs. So if you look to assets, to equipment a harbor is using, they are very costly if you have to buy them, if you make the invest. So maintenance is very crucial. So what can digitalization provide to this customer? If you look to operating costs, since you don't have the walkthroughs, since the experts can really focus on their daily duties, you can really get a much better bottom line result. So the cost of doing business can be decreased significantly, and that's a clear bottom line revenue win. And if you can cut out the unplanned shutdown, and it's not only the harbor, it's also the pharmaceutical industry, they call this shutdown management. For them, it's the same thing. If something happens unplanned in the production, it's a nightmare. And it's always almost a 7-digit figure of loss from the get-go. Last but not least, the payback over time, as long as a machine is running, you know that. Since you're not only doing metering, you're everywhere. Availability is key, and as longer you can have it, as better for you and the payback. So that's the trigger, that's the motivation, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to the case in general. So the case is basically what happened in Hamburg Harbor. So what you see over here is a compilation of different applications. I will touch base in later. And here, it's not only a speech, it's not only propaganda, we really work together. And you can see it's WIKA, it's L'Oreal, and also Swissphone. So it's a conglomerate of mioty members, driven by their own interest, driven by me calling them together and getting the solution or bringing the solution to the customer. So let's describe the use case a little bit. So what's the challenge? Well, the challenge is the optimization and the operational costs of OPEX, and some of those, just as an example, are the walkthroughs. You know, everybody talks about the pandemic impact. I mean, if you have 10 workers and 5 of them are sick, you have a problem, okay? Because the corn needs to be shipped to Tunisia, Morocco, wherever, okay? And they cannot wait until they recover and they come back to work. So another one, if you don't have a compressor working, if you don't have your assets, your conveyor belts working, there's no corn either. So you also cannot just simply skip them out of your daily routine. So you have to keep them maintained. And the best case is, like you do with your water, you do this predictive, looking ahead, and you say, hey, you can keep on going like for 2 more weeks, but then you have to stop it. You can choose the time when you do it, but you need to do it. So, solution, So what we did was we did an installation of a complete LP1 system. It's not only mioty, we also have some LoRa systems in there, but that proves the concepts that there's an coexistence possible. And you don't have a problem with it, I don't, Michael doesn't, and the whole mioty board don't. So, then the operation visualization dashboard. So they wanted to have an alarm. Okay, if something runs out of the parameter, they want to have an alarm, and so they want to get a hand on the risk management. And in the next slides to come, you will see why. Because some of these risks can really lead into a disaster, and we don't want to have that either. At least, I don't want to be in a dust explosion, not even close to it, okay? So, and then of course, last but not least, since we have one network, and you proclaimed it, Christoph did it, if you have a network there, you can invite the neighbors, you can almost invite the whole harbor, okay? And this client has a very, very nice gift.
May I compare a little bit? Harbor, it is a city. And when you're talking about network in a city, what we have done before, when we talk about harbor and for communication, it is the same.
Absolutely true. So, what's the benefit? Well, they can remote supervise the process and the operation. They can track the conditions of the assets and do the maintenance, as already said. They can optimize the logistic by water level. And by now, you should be very excited what that is all about. So you see, it's not only one case, there are several. And I promise you, they are quite exciting, okay? So, let's look into the application themselves and just skip this application countdown. So here's the first one. So if you look to this picture, you see three sections. You see the silo itself, and believe it or not, they're able to load 150 tons of corn an hour. So if something goes wrong there and you don't supervise the loading, that means the suction in the blowing process, this whole area is filled with corn because you have a backlog and it goes even into the staircases. So this is what I'm talking about, supervision and alarm prevention. So, but what is this here all about? You need to get the corn into your silo. To do so, you have the trucks over here, you have a suction and disloading area, and then they go into the silo, as you can see over here on this conveyor bands. So, and there's a main conveyor band way up there. I don't think you and I want to go. I can tell you, very, very strange feeling if you walk over this wiggly stuff. I don't want to do this again. So, the hotspot conveyor, what we do is we do condition monitoring, and they are critical and crucial because the conveyors are on rolling cylinders and they have ball bearings. So the area is dust, there's dirt, open environment. If something goes into the bearing gets friction. The friction creates temperature up to the point that you have a glowing bearing. So the heat then transfers up to the conveyor if you are unlucky, and then the corn starts not burning but getting hot and gluing. And then you transport this gluing corn into the silo, and here you have dust, and then the next thing, luckily it never happened because we supervise it and the customer supervises it, but then you have the bricks over here flying through the air, I guarantee you. So, with our solution, we prevent and supervise the temperature, and if they go hot, they have the action and the possibility to shut down the conveyor. And this is what we do here. I told you, condition monitoring, 1,000 tons. I mean, those are 5-digit figures of corn stock over here. So, you talked about your data availability, Markus, okay, what you provide to your customer. We do the same thing. So here you see a dashboard which we entertain, and of course you can figure your alarm points, you can identify the location, so all the good stuff which is almost a standard. But let's look, what else is there? Pest control. So what is the corn storage? A silo. It's a buffet, it's McDonald's for rodents. So we have these cute guys here. on the right corner, and of course, I like them, they are kind of cute, but you don't want them there. Yes, you see what's coming. So, how do you get rid of a rodent? Well, you have to catch it. So, what do you think, how many rat traps are in a silo operation like that? What do you think? Any guess? How many? How many traps? No. Thousands, yes. Up to 1,000. So can you imagine? In the silo, yes, in this area. And by law, and rightfully so, what you need to do is, you need to check your traps whether you have caught a rodent. And since a rodent is a spine category animal, you need to release it from the pain. So you don't want to have a rodent suffering half that in the trap, and that's absolutely okay. And I like this state directive. Okay, so we have to have this guy running through the whole silo, up and down all the stairs, all the corners where the rodents live, and you have to check them. So how can we make his life easier? Simple. We basically make our rat traps, which you can see over here, you already were pointing here. So you make them wireless. So that means the rat trap now sends the status via mioty or others to the pest control center. And of course we do not eliminate him, but we make him control only the traps where the animal has been caught. And that makes a huge difference in time, and of course also being human to the animals, even if it sounds a little bit Hippocratic. But anyway, so everybody always wants to know, is mioty operating? Do you have endpoints? Do you have use cases? Do they really do it? Yes, they do. We have a subscription of 130 traps, and my buddy Michael from the WIKA engineering over here is ready to install some more. So the target, the goal is around about 800. And guess who's the next door neighbor? He has the same operation. And if you go to the harbor, much more. So, but that's not it. So here you can see, so to speak, our pest control central, and it tells you exactly, I caught a rat, or the rat did escape. Okay. I don't know how she does it, maybe it's a bodybuilder rat, okay, lying on the back, pushing the trap back and then rolls over. So, and it also tells you, after you controlled the trap, it's armed and ready to go again. It even measures the temperature, I don't know for what reason, but it measures the temperature. Alright, so the next spot. We talked about loading, unloading the ships. So the ships need to be sucked through this nozzle over here. They suck out 250 tons an hour. It wasn't 150, 250 tons an hour. So can you imagine the amount of corn going up these nozzles? It's enormous. And the supervision, if you look to the right side, this is the condition monitoring. So it really checks how the suction, loading and deloading, vacuum or pressure is basically distributed to your system. So you see, this is my buddy Frank, our customer. He is not my brother and he's not my cousin, he's Frank in Hamburg, and he's responsible for this logistic area. So he's one of the foremans, and he looks at the gauges, not because he loves WIKA so much, he's checking whether everything runs smooth. In my LinkedIn post, you remember Uwe and Uwe, the story? They already have exchanged this gauge, which is a mechanical one, old-fashioned actually, against an intelligent smart gauge, which is sending the data directly into the command center, so Frank doesn't have to go there anymore. But there's more. We talked about time is money. So what do you think is the price sticker if this big ship can dock to the loading dock around about 30 minutes earlier? It's round about 10,000 euro. So the big question is, when do I have enough water, okay, under my lower boat level so I can reach the dock? When is the right docking time? So everybody says, guys, this is totally easy because we have a water level, a tide level forecast. Yes, that's true. Yeah, but only on the central reference point, not here in the harbor basin. So you have as an impact delays of uprunning water, you have wind, believe it or not, which hinders it. So that's a delay factor. And what we have here, when you see on the left side, so here you see the level measurement, and of course also the boat has something, but they need a counter level. So what we did was we put one of our WIKA level sensors in with a mioty bridge, and now they know exactly at the time and the date what water level is here, and they can give a radio to the captain and say, hey, you can roll in, or they even get the tracking boats to pull them in. And so, collecting the data, like with your water, they can say the uprunning mode of the water is better in November than, for example, in July. And they can already have a prediction, even maybe a model. So here you have it, prediction of the best docking time, ship damage, so it's not basically hitting the ground through alarm points that we say, hey, you better get out there because the water is dropping. Condition documentation, so that you have a countermeasure to the sonar system, which they basically have in the boats. And of course a seasonal pattern, and you can even use artificial intelligent models. Isn't it crazy? Just with a little level and a little bit of LP1, mioty, you are there. So, and of course, we also have a dashboard here, and you can of course see the metering, the level, in this case. So, you always look for superb points to put your gateway. So this one is a given. How cool is that? So if you look at this edge, exactly where the point is pointing, this is where our gateway is. Okay? So this is the gateway, 63 meters high, and you just simply make the guess, and you already said it. The heat map and reception is perfect. We have no problem with indoor wall and silo house penetration, so deep wall penetration, like with you, with Deal in the basement. And we, again, also used our partner. So in this case, we started this 1.5 years ago. The second generation of the AVA was not available. Wolfgang, where are you? So Wolfgang Esch would get a smile on his face because his Evo kit, the gateway, was firing out such a performance, and of course this robust protocol of mioty. We drive this operation with an Evo kit. Can you believe that? Totally crazy. So, and we have sensors, and of course, as I already told you, a bridge. And again, mioty members walking together. In this case, it's WebTech. And sorry to my friends from Swissphone, they are also part of that because they use the man tracking devices, so the lonely worker protection. So they are also part of this endeavor. So we have no dead reception spots, and the customer is really satisfied. What are the next steps? And it's almost like from the playbook of Deal. Okay, you said it, Christoph said it. So if you have a network, invite the others. So, and this is the reason why we say, hey, why not taking the whole harbor? And not only using the WIKA devices, we have a lot of other ones like OSs and so on. And just, yeah, meters, of course. So my big goal talking about meters is I want you and I go to Denmark and make some cities happy. All right, that's it. Herman, any questions?
Yes, Uwe, very exciting, especially for me because I'm coming out of cities, but you know, this is industry, this is the same technology, and it's really impressive how mioty can work in such an environment. You have a lot of engines, a lot of dust, and whatever is in, and mioty is working. This is perfect. And I'm very excited to see in the future more and more use cases like that. We can learn out of this, and we can bring it to others. Thank you very much, Uwe.
It's a pleasure, and just a word to the community out there. Of course, these use cases didn't happen yesterday. They were there longer. But hand to the heart, Herman. nobody of us wanted to disclose it, right? So we kept it as a little bit secret, but we both decided now it's the time to also show it to the outside world what's possible and that it's really existing, it's not a fiction.
So we will try to go on with mioty, find new use cases, maybe next time underwater.
Yeah, underwater, why not?
Okay, thank you very much, Uwe.
Thank you, Hermann, it was a pleasure. Bye.